live streaming from my phone. I have had the worst time with trying to get good audio and good video when going live. I've been experimenting with a lot, so I'm on my phone this time, trying to remember where my camera is. So hopefully I'm looking at the camera, because especially I'm front facing with my on my iPhone. So welcome. Glad to see everyone here. So you will see me kind of look down. I just have my notes down here, so on and so forth. But really excited to see everyone. I know that this live is kind of last minute scheduled, but that's because, well, we've had, I'm used to my camera like being up here. It's over here. I'm used to my, and so let me start over. The reason why we're going live last minute is because this is kind of breaking news, things that have happened in the grain world this week. And yes, it does have to deal with Russia and Ukraine and all of those people. So first of all, welcome. In case you don't know me, my name is Felicia with Grains and Grits. Hi, Little Country Cabin. I'm glad to have y'all here. Let us know in the chat. It is there, so let us know where you're from. Also, if you have any questions, hopefully we will have time to get to just an FAQ session at the end of this. But in the meantime, welcome. I want to thank Pleasant Hill Grain for being a sponsor of this video. So we will definitely be talking about them later, but we already have the link for them here in the chat. And we will be also posting things, links as we get them in the chat as well. So be on the lookout for those. Okay, so a few announcements. Okay, Ron from Fairhope, Alabama. I know where that is. So my mom's side of the family is from Alabama, and we're originally from the Panhandle, Florida, also known as Loa, Alabama. So yes, very familiar with them. Okay, and we got Southwest Mississippi. All right, we got a lot of Southerners here. Hey. All right, and then Albuquerque, New Mexico. Jean, well, way to be the outcast there, but it's okay. Knoxville, Tennessee. Sarah, awesome. All right, another. Okay, Georgia, Alabama, Guatemala. Alice, you win. You're probably one of the farthest. Okay, and we got other Floridians here, so it's great to see everyone. So do know that we generally get a lot of people in chat. I'm unable to see all of the comments. So if you have a question that you really, really want me to answer, do know that if you do the super chat, which is that little $ down below, if you just do a super chat, it will kind of ping me and notify me of your question, and I will definitely answer that and possibly even stop everything to answer that. So that is definitely an option. Or if you would just like to say thanks or whatever, kind of a tip or whatever, that's what super chat can be for as well, and I do appreciate it. So y'all are amazing as always. Okay, so one more announcement as well is that I still have a few more spots left for my last live masterclass that's going on August 5th. This is a live private masterclass to help you basically master actually baking with freshly milled wheat. And so this is going to be my last one because I've got co-op starting soon. We do classical conversations. I'm a tutor. And all of that is starting up soon. And I do not know when I'm going to be able to do this next because things are really about to get crazy. So there are still just a few more spots. We are almost booked up for that. Okay, and that link is in the chat as well. Okay, so let us get to it. So first of all, I am thrilled at all the Southerners I have here. Oh, Shelly from Hawaii. Well, another far one. I think Guatemala still wins though for the farthest. But let's get to with this. Let's get to, well, I have notifications popping up because I'm on my phone. Fantastic. Okay, so try not to get us distracted. So we're going to just get to the point of this video. Grain shortages. Oh, we'll be seeing price hikes. What is going on? It's been a while since I've done a video like this, but basically, if you've been living under a rock, the two countries, Russia and Ukraine, have been at war for the past year or so, that's still going on, unfortunately. And for the most part, yes, squirrel, exactly. So for the most part, in the United States, in North America, we are not as affected, with the exception of our government spending money in aid, like we have the money to spare. But that's a different live video. But so they're at war. And what happened this past week, some significant things here in the grain world. And that is the fact that the bridge from Russia to Crimea was bombed. It is not destroyed, but it was damaged. So from what I've seen, there still is traffic going, but it definitely has been slowed down. And if you're not familiar with the geographic region, how important this is Crimea is a little peninsula that sticks out from Ukraine that is technically part of Russia. And they have a 12-mile long bridge over the sea that I'm completely blanking. I think it's the Black Sea. Wow, I'm completely blanking. The sea there, the water, body of water, 12-mile bridge from Russia to Crimea, and then they have land access into Ukraine. So it's a huge supply access point from Russia into Ukraine, the Black Sea. I was right. Okay, the Black Sea. Thank you, Ellen. So it was damaged. As far as I know, Ukraine is taking credit for it. There's a whole lot of kerfuffle there, but bottom line, it's been destroyed. And then what Russia has done is they have since gone reneged on a deal that they were allowing grain to still be exported from Ukraine via the Black Sea. So what happened last year is there was the United Nations brokered a deal between Russia and Ukraine where Ukraine was still able to export their grains and other items via the Black Sea. And now Russia has said, never mind, we're not doing that. And on top of that, any ships we see in the Black Sea going to and from Ukraine, we are going to assume that they are carrying military supplies and they are and they are fighting for Ukraine against Russia. So if we know our history, very much Lusitania vibes, World War I type stuff here. So it definitely is definitely an issue. And then since then, key ports in Ukraine have been bombed. They do have tons and tons of grain stored up, ready to be shipped out. So this definitely caught my eye and wondering how this would affect us, if at all, here in North America. So again, I've touched on this before, but the Ukraine is considered the breadbasket of Europe in many ways. Now, Russia is also a huge exporter of wheat. Right now, they are projected to be number one for 2023, but usually they're in the top 5 or top 10 for the past 10 years. The United States has been in the top 5 as well. But Ukraine is a huge exporter of grains and wheat, specifically to Northern Africa, Middle East. Those are the people who are usually getting Ukrainian grains. And so this is very much a big deal for them. So the question is this going to affect us here in North America? All right. So will we have grain shortages? Because if the Ukrainians are not able to get their own wheat out, think about it. Wheat, grains in general, is a commodity on a global scale, just like oil is. It does put a lot of pressure on them. They're now having to change up their routes. They're now looking at going overseas, or sorry, not overseas, but over land, possible alternative routes. And yeah, a lot going on here. So, and then on top of that, what we do see is the stock market here in the US, wheat futures skyrocketed when this happened. And if you're not familiar what futures are in the stock market, thankfully, I have a husband who is able to explain this to me. But basically, when someone with how futures work is someone can say that they are going to buy whatever stock is in a certain amount of time at today's prices. So whenever the futures skyrocket, that generally means that people are assuming that the actual prices on the grain are going to skyrocket. They don't want to pay more. So they're saying now, hey, we promise to buy the grain, say 2 weeks from now, but we wanted it at today's prices. So we're not paying higher prices later. Now, prices may not increase at all. They may fall. They may increase by 5%, 1%, 50%. Who knows? It's the stock market. It's a game. But it is something to keep in mind. And so that did skyrocket as well. So the markets are paying attention to this. So let's get to how this affects us here in North America. I reached out to with some wheat farmers that I know, as well as the queen herself, Sue Becker. I actually reached out to her to get her comment about it, especially since she has been in this world for a long time, for for a few decades now, and has definitely seen her fair share of markets going up and down and crazy things happen and politics and stuff like that. So here is what we're looking at. So I did reach out to Guardian Grains. I think they're here. If they are, say hi. So they are wheat farmers in North Dakota. And basically they say that, in essence, to sum up, they're doing fine. They even have excess wheat. And they've actually been on a downward trajectory as far as the wheat market goes. So they actually have grain in stock where usually in past years they would sell out. So they definitely still have it. They are not foreseeing price increases for them. Sue Becker did state that their supplier has also said that there's no wheat shortage here in the United States. But what does happen is people panic buy. And so we panic buy and we cause a shortage ourselves by buying all the things. This is especially seen, Sue Becker did say this is especially seen in the grains that are lesser grown. Not many farmers are growing these grains. Things like camus, hard white, einkorn. If you remember back in 2020, you could not find camus to save your life. And hard white was out for forever as well. Those are two grains that just sold out. People stocked up and not as many people growing those grains. So they did sell out. And it's only been in the past few months that I've been able to get my hands back on camus Corzon. So, people panic buy anything, think toilet paper. Exactly. So, of course, my thing is, grains, they store, keep a stock, keep a stock on hand. Do not panic buy. Here in the United States, we are one of the top exporters. In 2022, we were number 2 of top exporters of wheat. We have the wheat. we have the grains. We're not going to have a shortage. The only thing that we may see is prices may increase solely because it's on the commodity market. And whenever it is affected in other parts of the world, we may see a slight increase in prices here because, if things really go south, and now these countries that were getting grains from Ukraine, and maybe they don't want Russian grains, they're now going to the United States, Canada, they're coming over here, to get grains, which is going to put, more pressure on our market, all the things. It's just simple supply and demand. But overall, we should be okay. Okay, so a few things about this is, like I said, it never hurts to store up. So if you find yourself right now kind of, I do need some more hard white on hand, or I really come to love this grain, I want to keep it, go ahead and get a stock of it. So long as wheat and grains are stored properly, they're going to store for years. Don't ever throw away or even get rid of your grains. I now am seeing this like on Facebook Marketplace, people selling their wheat berries. They're like, yeah, I had some on hand and I don't use them, so I'm selling them. Keep them. You never know when we may need them again. You never know when we might have another 2020 again or whatever. Just hang on to them, okay? It's okay. And if you really want to master prepping with grains, I do have a course, how to master prepping with grains, and it's basically how I basically teach you how to bulk up your prepper pantry with the basis being grains and kind of what I do, so on and so forth. So I do have that for you guys, but yeah, hang on to those grains, figure out what you use the most, and figure out how long that you're wanting to do. I do have a free grain calculator for y'all if you want to know how much, say for example, hard red, you love hard red wheat and you want to know how much you need to have in stock for a 6-month supply. And it's a free calculator that I have for you guys where you can determine how much wheat you're using a month. And that helps you to determine how much you need for however long you're wanting to stock up for. It could be a month, it could be 6 months, it could be 5 years. It's just something very simple and easy to help you get a rough idea of how much grains to get. So that is a freebie for y'all. But right now, if you see a good deal on grains and they're clean and they're good and you like them, go ahead and get them and store them well. You need a good container and a good lid to keep out bugs and to keep out moisture. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And another thing is at this time, if you really want to make it stupid easy to store up grains for the who knows what's going to happen down the road future, Pleasant Hill Grain is actually an excellent place to buy grains because they come ready to pretty much be buried in the dirt. So many times whenever you buy grains, they may come in bags or they may come in just regular buckets that may not be sealed. Well, Pleasant Hill Grain actually has their grains in sealed buckets. They're hard red, and they're hard white. Also have their grains in the sealed buckets that are food grade safe in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. There's soft white wheat, still comes in a sealed bucket, but not in a Mylar bag, but with oxygen absorbers. And frankly, Mylar bags, in my opinion, are kind of overkill when it comes to storing grains. You don't have to have them. They're not going to hurt it. You don't have to have them. But one thing I love about Pleasant Hill Grain is I know that they are super clean grains and they are already ready to go. So when I get a bucket, if I'm not ready to open it yet, I know I don't even have to inspect it. I can just put it out in my shed and I know it's going to be fine for whenever I am ready to then use it. So again, you can just go to grainsandgrit.com/PHG. Love their grains. And again, if you're looking for like the ultimate super crazy easy way to stock up on grains, they're shipped to your house, you place them where you want to go, and you're done. You don't have to look at it. Okay, so some more advice for you guys with all of this. Okay. Okay, I got a question here and it disappeared on my phone. So I'm like, okay, so AEW Math says I use the concepts from your calculator to make a spreadsheet based on Bread Brecker's recipes. It calculates the yearly supply of grain that I need to purchase based on how often I make each recipe. Well, mad kudos to you for the Excel game. That's definitely ahead of me. So if you can do that, that is awesome. Because with Excel, if you know how to work it and have the formulas, you can just type it in and it calculates everything for you, which is great. That's really cool that you did that. And that's another thing to consider as well, is figure out what recipes that you like and that you like to make the most. And also keep track and keep stock of the things that go in that recipe, because it's not just grains. You have your yeast, your oils, all that stuff. Okay. So a little bit of advice, because I know right now it can be a little scary when we first hear of these things. And because I know whenever I first Googled it, and immediately like headlines are saying grain shortages, and grain price hikes and all that stuff. And it can be a little scary. So just a word of encouragement is to remember that none of this surprises the Lord. Not at all. He's on the throne. He's in control. 2 Timothy 1:7 says that he has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And then on top of that, Psalm 37:25 gives us a wonderful promise. It says, I have been young and now I'm old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. And I absolutely love that verse. It's one that my husband has memorized, and every time he quotes it, I get so excited to know that so long as we're walking with the Lord and we're following him, he's going to provide for us. You know, he knows every hair on our head. He knows. I mean, none of this is surprising. This is not his first rodeo. He's fully aware of everything going on. And we know, according to the book of Revelation, things are going to get bad, but we can still trust in the Lord and know that he at least knows what's going on, is in control of everything. All right. So I hopefully this kind of helps answer some questions, kind of give some updates with the whole Russia-Ukraine thing. Again, to recap, and for those who may have missed some of this, I definitely do not see a wheat shortage here in the US. Maybe some price increases, but we've also seen price increases just because of this wonderful thing called inflation, and things like that. But as of now, do you know that there are farmers that are in the middle of wheat harvest right now? I know that Farm Fresh Wheat stated that they are currently they're harvesting wheat, so more wheat is coming in on top of what we already have. So I think we're going to be fine, but of course, just know and remember that grains are the ultimate prepper food. Stock up on them. It will not be a waste of money. It will be fine. So any questions whatsoever, feel free to go ahead and put them in the chat. I know I've gotten some questions here. I'm going to look over. Okay. Barbara, if PHG Pleasant Hill Grain doesn't have the Camus but have Corazon, do we order that? Okay. I'm actually hoping to record this video, I think tomorrow or very soon. Basically, Camus, Corazon, what is it? Spoiler alert, it has become a new favorite grain of mine. But do you know that Camus and Corazon are the same wheat? The only difference is Camus is the trademark name of Corazon. So think like name brand Corazon, but they are the same wheat. Just Camus does have very strict type guidelines to grow in order to have the name of Camus. But I've done Camus and Corazon. It acts the same exact way, and I love both of them. Okay, so the homespun wife, how long will all wheat berries last as long as we have them in food safe buckets? So if you Google this, the FDA I know likes deadlines, and they will give you deadlines, in my opinion, practically for forever. We know this because of the story of Joseph in the Bible, where we know that he stored up grains for 7 years, and it got them through 7 years of famine. And they didn't have refrigerators or freezers or oxygen absorbers or anything like that. And those grains lasted, and they fed the world. So especially nowadays when we have food grade safe buckets with good lids, oxygen absorbers, Mylar bags, so long as you're keeping out bugs and moisture, they're going to last for a while. Now, do note this can vary with rice. White rice stores better long-term than brown rice. So if you're wanting like really long-term with rice, as much as it pains me to say, white rice maybe better. Also, when it comes to oat groats, look for ones that say, like PHG has them, where it says like they're toasted oat groats, which means that they have lightly, ever so lightly, toasted them in a way where it's stabilizing the oil, because oats and rice and corn are slightly different than wheat. With oats, the oils are on the outside, and that's what can make oat groats go rancid quicker. So they actually toast them you might also see them state where they're stabilized, and they stabilize those oats to be stored longer. Okay, more questions. Ellen, how do you grind your nixtamalized corn? That is through my Wonder Junior Deluxe grain mill. It's a manual mill, but with nixtamalized corn, for those who do not know, nixtamalized corn is where you take corn and you are nixtamalizing it to unlock the nutrients. That is where you're soaking it in a lime solution overnight. You then wash the dickens out of it, and then it's now wet. And you do actually grind it wet. So I do use the Wonder Junior Deluxe because it has the steel burrs to allow a wet grain. You don't ever put wet grains in your typical grain mills. It will mess them up. You can also do this in a high-powered blender, like a Vitamix or a Blendtec, to grind it up as well. But you can only do a little bit at a time, like maybe half a cup at a time. So it is much longer. Okay, so Ron says I've had grain stored for 15 years and it was fine. Awesome. Yeah, I gotta check something here. So hold on for just a second. I think I'm still here. Okay, good. Sorry, again on my phone. That's why I don't like being on my phone, because it's like all the things. Okay, so again, I do have many videos about storing grains. I have videos on oats. I have video on corn, nixtamalization, how I do that. If you really want kind of a more comprehensive guide, yet another thing, I have a free newbie guide for you guys that has basically in order steps to go, that it's free, and it has links to all the things. I probably need to look at that again to see if I need to add any more things, but it's got a lot of things in there, at least, especially for the newbies, what to start with. Okay, so Romans 12:18, and mylar with oxygen absorbers will keep grains 30 plus years. In a bucket, grains start turning in 5 years, but will be good in handful more years. We put some back, Y2K. Y2K, back in the day. So yeah, again, whenever you Google this, as far as how long grains last, there's kind of debate out there because we have all these regulations and things like that. But bottom line, store them. And also a key thing with grains is you should be using them. Use your grains so you're rotating them, and then this kind of doesn't matter anyway. Just keep a certain stock and be rotating through your grains. Don't come to me saying that you have grains and you're not using them. I am not going to be happy. Not happy. So be using your grains and just rotating them. Okay, so any more questions? I know usually these lives are like an hour long, but this one I think I pretty much have covered everything. Again, for those who weren't here at the very beginning, I am doing my second live masterclass on August 5th, and I only have a few more spots left. And I do not know when I'm going to be able to do this again, because as many of you know, all the school things are starting up again. For us, we homeschool, and that means our co-op is starting up again, and it gets a little insane. It gets a little crazy around here. But otherwise, be sure to snag that. And for those who did sign up, I'm really looking forward to seeing y'all there on August 5th. The first one went really great. I've figured out better video and audio. So learned a lot from the first one. Thank you all for who attended the first one. Y'all are my wonderful guinea pigs, my brave guinea pigs. So ironed out some things for the next one. But other than that, just remember that this world has gone crazy. There's no will be going crazy. It has gone crazy. It will be going even crazier. Who knows? But just remember that we serve a God who is on the throne. The earth is his footstool. It's going to be okay. And we know that we can at least trust him to know that he knows where we're going and he knows what is going on, and we can trust in him. So if there are no other questions, I got to go milk a cow again. And as always, it's been a pleasure talking with y'all, and I will talk to y'all next week. Bye.